Jane.com shut down abruptly.
So sellers were told to keep shipping, just keep acting like normal, and lost everything they sold for the last month plus.
There always seemed to be that delusion, even with the founders. They thought they were this Gucci. No, you're fast fashion. How do you even prevent something like this? Hey guys, welcome to Ops Unfiltered. This is your host, Jared. I'm the founder and CEO of Luminous. This week, we're actually doing sort of a emergency episode, given recent events. So I don't know if you guys heard. If you are from Utah, you probably know this news already. Jane.com, which was a pretty decent sized platform out of Utah. It was for small sellers, small boutique sellers and small businesses to sell fashion and decor items. So it shut down abruptly, very abruptly, last Friday. And we sort of broke the news in Utah. I don't know if really Reddit broke the news, but actually your post was, I would guess, probably the most popular post that spread the word. So how did you find out about it, Brendan?
I have a friend that messaged me that morning on a Reddit because he found a Reddit thread about it. And he's like, hey, is this true? And I think I talked to you, you called somebody you knew, and it was, hey, the site is down and nobody can get access. And nobody knew anything at the time. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and it's a massive deal for a lot of Utah sellers. So just quick background on Jane.com. So Jane, they were a marketplace, started in 2011. They were one of the fastest marketplaces to grow to $1 billion in GMV. So it was less than 10 years. They were already grossing more than $1 billion in general merchandise volume through the platform. And they attracted a lot of small sellers over the years. And really, a lot of these small sellers who I actually got to know over the years. Back in my previous career, I helped out a lot of the Jane sellers source products, find better priced products from China and help them get into a warehouse and sell on Jane. So these small sellers, their business and their livelihood was, for a lot of them, was 100% tied to Jane. Like they pivoted their entire business like, oh, wow, we're crushing it on Jane. Mm-hmm. These are most of Jane's sellers are smaller businesses who probably profit probably in the range of like $50,000 to $100,000 a year. So just imagine your livelihood is tied to this platform, and then all of a sudden last Friday, done.
And worse than done is Jane.com had been holding funds for probably over a month, at least from the words we're hearing, and weren't paying out sellers. So sellers were told to keep shipping, just keep acting like normal. And it wasn't until, Friday that they lost all access and lost everything they sold for the last month plus. And they couldn't get access to. They had no access to emails, to orders. There's actually buyers who can't get a hold of the people that sold them products. Like they just don't know how to get a hold of them.
And yeah, though, if you go to the website right now, it's like just says in blank text, like down for maintenance. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know a couple. I called some Jane sellers that I knew and verified as much as I could. And yeah, so at Luminous, what we've done, what we're trying to push for right now in Utah, we've posted on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I just give some background, but the main point is Brendan he aggregated all of the data. So like all of the sellers and their stores on, whether it's like Shopify or Etsy or wherever, mm-hmm. where people could help buy their products. And you even have we have a link, it's called janesellers.com. And if you go there, you can see how much money each store is owed. And from there, you can go and shop and buy something.
Yeah, I think the whole weekend we were trying to go over like, how could we help? We're in this ecosystem. And I was listening to phone calls Jared was having with his friends of people who were out $10,000 to $100,000 and just lost payouts, in addition to just having dead stock right before Black Friday. And I was like, what can we do? We don't offer services to customers like that. And so I think the least is just try to raise awareness and try to get the Utah community together. I think it's proven through COVID and through other layoffs, the Utah community really comes together and helps people. And these sellers are too small to notice. I think most people I talk to don't even know what Jane.com is necessarily, unless you're in that realm. And so hopefully this is a way where we can rally some support behind them.
Yeah. So the last I heard, which was just yesterday, some of the top sellers, like they're owed over $1 million easy in payouts, and it's just divided between like the top sellers.
How do you know? Have you verified? Like, are these just like out of their head numbers, or have you verified it somehow?
So I have some friends that I've done business with before, in Jane, and according to them, they're in like a sellers group where they're talking all the time, and one of the sellers, Coco in Maine, Danny, she's been one of my friends for years now. She told me, like, she's out. I can't remember her exact number. Qualtree, which the company that I used to be CEO of, they're owed, I think he said over 50 grand in payouts. And then Danny told me that some of the top sellers are owed over $1 million.
Holy crap.
So, yeah, I guess technically not. I haven't seen screenshots of their portal and like their expected payouts, but it's definitely a big number. So it's a big deal for businesses.
What are the chances of them getting that money back at this point?
Oh, next to nothing. I mean, you saw the news recently. They're already in the beginning stages of filing for bankruptcy. They're not responding at all to any of their requests. So it's next to nothing, I would say. What can people do at this point if you're a Jane seller and you're trying to go like a legal route? What, from your research, what are the options?
So I think there's two things. Forget the specifics are online, but you can reach out to the bankruptcy group that's handling their bankruptcy. But also Lehigh police are doing an investigation, and I think they're collecting information. So I'd call Lehigh police, put your name on there, make sure they get your details, how much you're owed, but also reach out to the bankruptcy attorney that's handling the case. At least that's what I've heard. Like, it's hard to verify any of this. Like you said, nobody's has said anything.
Yeah, it's been totally silent, and honestly, I feel like that's probably what Jane wants. They want this really. I'll stop saying Jane. It's probably more the VCs who bought majority ownership in Jane. Yeah, which I don't know all of the details of that transaction. What I do know is at their Series A, where they raised $40 million, apparently some or most of that was an actual buyout to get the original founders out.
So these are the rumors on the street, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing's out there. But what are the rumors that you believe at this point? So the rumors, and I can give some quick background on myself and the interactions I've had with Jane.com over the years. So back in, I think it was like 2017, 2018, I worked on the same building as Jane. So I was on the floor 1 in the Silicon Slopes. They were on I believe it's the 4th floor of that building. So I ran a sourcing division where I helped e-commerce companies take their products and, cut costs by sourcing in China or Vietnam or India, wherever. So I actually met with Jane back in like 2017. So I met a lot of people on the seller relations side and in a couple of different facets of the business. And then I met most of their top sellers in person, and some of them I even helped source products for. So I do have, and I also, in my network, I know people who know the founders directly and are close to the situation. So not an expert, but I do have some insider information. I guess we can only classify this as hearsay. But so from my understanding, ever since their Series A which that Series A for $40 million, apparently it was to buy out the founders. There's a VC. So they raised $40 million in 2020?
I believe it was 2019, actually.
2019?
Yeah. No, sorry. No, I think it was 2020.
And one of those years. How did they burn through $40 million in just a few years, do you think?
So, again, just rumors. Apparently, really bloated C-suite salaries, which that can't. I mean, bloated C-suite salaries for a small company like that can't be like the main thing that did them under. Two things I do know: bloated C-suite salaries and misses, like strategic misses. Like they were trying to expand in different markets and just do different experimental things that they put money behind. And apparently a lot of them missed. And the third thing that I would just simply guess would be if this was financed, if this acquisition or the buyout of the founders was financed, which it probably was, like, why wouldn't you? I'm sure they got killed in interest rates. That could have been a part of it.
So the idea being, so you're saying when they raised that Series A, the $40 million went to the founders to buy them out, supposedly, and the $50 million, the VC fund came in, financed that $40 million, probably from the company, and the company was paying that debt back.
Probably and that's just a theory.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm like, we're trying to make sense of like how do you shut down right before Black Friday? Like Jane makes 25% on all transactions, all the throughput. So like, that's a massive referral fee. Even Amazon is 15%. Obviously, they make more through FBA. Etsy is like 7.5%. eBay's 10%. So like 25%. That's massive margins on GMV. So it's just hard. Like things must have been really bad through some factor that we don't even know, and that's why the theory is like, okay, this was financed and it probably had a really bad debt reservice payment.
Because they must have been doing $50 million that they're taking home from seller fees and whatnot.
Oh yeah, at
least
Jane does. I think their peak GMV was 250 million or over 250 million. Maybe it squeaked to 300 million. Then it went down a little bit. Again, from my sources, they were saying that they were still on track to do 200 million this year. So yeah, I mean, just by that math, total that they pull in through $200 million in revenue is at least $50 million. So, I mean, something had to have gone really wrong to shut down operations and like nothing to...
Right.
They could not even sell the business. They couldn't even fundraise more.
They couldn't even pay their sellers. Like this feels like a FTX situation where the company's using the funds that their sellers are rightly deserved.
Yeah, it does. It feels like something, quote unquote, something collapsed. Well, I think when you stop paying your sellers, and you tell them to keep selling, if they pull those listings, then all of a sudden, like, things collapse.
I remember reading something that sellers started pulling out as they had issues, or earlier this year, or was it only when they started stopping payments?
Well, according to the seller that I talked to, that it was when they stopped paying them.
Okay.
Because apparently that's been going on for months. Like the payments have slowly come to a halt, and they've been messaging, and they, like, up until a couple months ago, they're like, hey, all good, don't worry, we're just going through a rough time right now, but we will get you paid back in a couple weeks. And then the seller started mistrusting them, and they're like, nah, I'm pulling my, like, I'm not selling more in the hopes that, like, I'm just going to cut my losses. So that's probably what made it collapse.
One of the unknowns to me is why shut it down right before the busiest time of the year? Their revenue would have spiked in the next couple weeks. Like, how do you shut it down and stop that completely? I just had a thought, though. If they were paying sellers from sales that, like, if sales this month were actually paying off people 2 months ago, and they were falling behind by so much that they literally had nothing left, it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, also probably something as well is, I know Jane's revenue, I believe, was down this year and the year before, compared to like 2018, 2019. So they were probably way off on their projections. So if you project it to do a certain amount, especially if you have like a seller finance or a buyer finance deal and like crazy debt service payments, you have to...
You couldn't keep up.
Yeah, if you projected, say, like $350 million revenue, or throughput on the platform, yeah, then you could be like millions and millions of dollars behind.
The other key piece here too is, at least from what we've heard, they were looking to be bought out. They had a few people looking to buy them out or to do some sort of funding, but both, if those were happening, both those fell out last minute, and they just had nothing left.
Yeah, they just had to pull the rug. What sucks too is for these sellers, it's not just how much money they're owed. It's the fact that for those of you who don't know, even if you're most of these buyers, most of these small businesses who sell on Jane, you're doing one of two things. You're either buying through like the fashion district, which I don't know if anybody knows what the fashion district
In
is.
LA?
It's just a district in LA, and you're just buying from like a district of wholesalers who, they import stuff and resell it to you. And if you're not doing that, then you're buying directly from a factory or a trading company in China. And my whole point is they had to plan for Black Friday in advance. And if you're a smaller business, like really small, then maybe you could have just been like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to buy. Like, we won't plan for that. But anybody who's a medium-sized seller or a larger one, they had to plan. They were planning for this Black Friday in March or February. So, there's some sellers who have imported like containers of leggings or cardigans or beanies, and now not only are they owed a bunch of money and they filed bankruptcy, you're gonna have to chase them, but you have a warehouse full of leggings that were supposed to be sold through Jane, and it's like, what do we do now?
Oh, that's insane.
It's literally their whole business could be over. So that's why we did the janesellers.com, and we're just trying to, like Brendan said, rally Utah together and just spread this to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think the power of just like community and the power of quantity. We have enough individuals who are seeing what's going on. If every person made just a single purchase from one of these customers, I mean, that could be the difference between them keeping their house and them losing it. Like these guys, they're small businesses. A lot range in like, well, some are in the insane of 100,000, and maybe they're bigger business and they can sustain through other channels. The majority are in like this $10,000 to $20,000 that they've lost, and this is a big season for them.
Yep.
And if just 100 of us went and bought, 100 items from their store, that could be what they were going to do on Jane.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like Brendan said, this is the difference between somebody losing a house or losing their business, or, making it through the holidays and being able to pivot their business to Etsy or to Amazon or to, their own Shopify store. So this is a conversation that Brendan and I have behind the scenes all the time. It's basically just tech companies or like companies in general, and leadership, identity, brand. I always thought it was very interesting with Jane. When I went and toured their facilities back in 2017, there was, they seemed to be, they would brag about the build out of their floor. And I remember when I went up there for a tour, I walked in, and mind you, Jane is like a platform where you go and buy $5 leggings, or it's cute quality boutique stuff, but it's fast fashion. It's not expensive. It's not high end. It's like, most of their GMV is through like $5 leggings or beanies or cardigans. So when I walked upstairs to tour it, like they were pointing at it like, oh yeah, that was $50,000, and the brick alone was $250,000, and it was like I was touring Gucci or Louis Vuitton, and I was just like, bro, you guys sell $5 leggings, like you're not Gucci. It's hard to think that attitude, it probably didn't benefit them, did not come across as like a scrappy platform trying to make sure they grow, they're ready for their growth. And I'm not even sure they quite understood what they achieved product market fit in. I think they were always trying to be, high quality, high end fashion. They wouldn't let foreign sellers on the platform. They wouldn't let two sellers like sell the same thing. All things that are a barrier to entry for fast fashion, and to like double down on what you found product market fit in. So that was always interesting to me.
It seems like they made a lot of progress pre their founders leaving. Like, did you notice a big difference between while the founders were there versus after the round of investment? Or do you think they were headed this way?
I think just my personal opinion as somebody who sold on Jane and then helped some of the bigger sellers, I think it started off with a bang, and they really found product market fit in like, cheap, good quality leggings and stuff. And what I think the founders already, there was that delusion. That's a strong word, but I'll say it. There always seemed to be that delusion, even with the founders, of like they thought they were this Gucci and like, yeah, we're gonna high end boutique sellers. But the reality was like, no, you're fast fashion. And I think that that delusion led them down to like a series of expansions. Like I remember they were trying to expand to toys and games at one point, and like electronics, like asking. I remember somebody asked me to like source a drone for them to resell, and like, what are you doing?
Who's
like,
the customer there?
You guys didn't, why would you throw? Oh yeah, do you want a toy drone with your $5 leggings? It's like, so. But then what I do know is all those contacts and people that I knew after 2019, 2020, everybody said the same thing. Like, oh, it's not the same. This place sucks. Like it's on the downhill. They don't even understand the sellers. So that was happening while the original founders were there, but it seemed to have gotten worse, like post 2019, 2020.
Just escalated.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them as a tech company. And from a tech company perspective, they seem to have it all under control. I remember I was at 4Up, and we started the exact same year as them, 2011, and they seemed to be crushing it. And when they raised their 40 million round, it was like, geez, we are falling behind. And I remember talking to head of product and engineering over there. Like, how do you guys organize things? Like, it seemed like they were doing incredible things.
They were. So that's the thing, though. They were, and Jane was like the darling place of Utah. Everybody wanted to go work there.
Yeah.
And all of their employees were
loved it.
under the C-suite. Everybody was a freaking all-star. And yeah, they loved it. It's like nobody said bad things about Jane. Like the employees and the sellers. It's like this utopia of a marketplace. I don't know exactly what happened starting 2018, 19, 20, but like it seems like
the executive team was super disconnected from the reality. At least somewhere along the line, they just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Nor did they share what was going on, it seems.
Yeah.
At least most of the employees I've talked to, like they thought it was coming, but were expecting like February or March, after the holidays. This was just unexpected.
Man. Yeah. How do you even prevent something like this?
I don't know. I wish somebody on that team would come and just talk about it. It'd be great to get I know the executive team up there probably isn't allowed to, or they don't want. They shouldn't because of bankruptcy. There's got to be somebody right under the executive team that has more details, and they could share that experience and like what was it like. This reminds me of like Toys R Us situation. Toys R Us was crushing it, got a big investment, debt service payments crushed them though, and they went bankrupt. Was this a similar situation where it was just simply the debt from acquiring the business put the business out under? Which that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I would guess that too. Well, okay. I think that's like, we can close that off about Jane.com. We can move on to another topic, but Yeah. Again, janesellers.com. Go and purchase some things from those stores. Maybe filter by, the top owed amount and just go down the list. There's some really cool products there, especially for females or guys if you're wanting to buy your wife or significant other or somebody a gift. There's like awesome leggings and beanies and cardigans and shirts.
I know in my family, I talked to my wife over the weekend, and we're going to try and buy all our gifts from janesellers.com. We're going to pick, the sellers on there we like, that were hurt, and see how we can support them. The other piece we're doing is we want this to go bigger. If we can have 10,000 people buying one item each, it would leave a huge impact. So tag the Utah businesses around here, get them involved, get them to tag other businesses. I think we can make this go big.
I think so too. Now pivoting real fast, because we have Brendan here. So obviously you guys have seen Brendan on Ops Unfiltered on one of the other episodes, but Brendan is our CTO, our Chief Technology Officer. So you've got us together. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of Luminous and what our goals, our plans are for 2024, and what's changed, some of the updates. So, we're closing out a good year at Luminous. A lot has changed. There's a lot of new things in the product, and I think we have a pretty clear roadmap for 2024. So, for anybody listening, what are some of the new exciting things about the product that are in the works and will be pushed in 2024, like major visions?
So one of the big things that we just deployed is embedded EDI within Luminous. There's no need to go find a third party like SPS Commerce. We actually have the ability to link up directly with your retailers, which is huge. The majority of businesses we work with have 1 to 2 EDI connections, and they're paying a third party, a decent sized sum of money just to receive POs. And it's not automated, it doesn't go into their fulfillment. It's kind of just this manual process on the side. And we found an incredible partner who is taking care of a lot of the work behind the scenes. But the fact that we can actually embed that within Luminous is huge. And that's one of the more, it's like exciting, but at a nerd level. I don't know. Hopefully operators and owners respect that, but it's really cool.
Yeah, the way I would put it is if you're an e-commerce brand and you're starting expanding to, I don't know, let's say you get a purchase order from Costco or from Walmart or Target, like one of these big box retailers, then that word EDI. So Luminous, instead of like having to do all these things in another platform and then, link it into your system, we can embed it all into one place. So it's just a great experience as you expand to big box retail.
Yeah. On top of that, we're just rolling out the ability to set up bill of materials and assembly orders. And all of this is really setting the ground of for delivering a lot of value next year. So as far as like next year and where we're going, this idea of multiple warehouses, where to fulfill and forecasting and predicting and purchasing. We're trying to bring it all together. And the use case that I've seen a few times is you have your FBA warehouse, you have your 3PL, you have your own warehouse, and you're fulfilling out of all of them. You're purchasing from China, you're doing transfer orders between the 3 of them, and forecasting becomes impossible. And so what we're doing is we now have the ability to consolidate the consumption velocity across all your warehouses, identify which ones need to be fulfilled from your own warehouse, which ones need to be fulfilled from purchase orders, and then giving you suggestions and just making that process as easy as possible. And so that's the biggest, most exciting thing that's going to come out in Q1 next year.
Yeah, and to add to that, when we say bill of materials or assembly orders, I think the main use case there is a lot of e-commerce companies, they'll buy raw materials to save money. So what that means for an e-commerce company is You need a system that will capture your sales, like the SKU that is attributed to all of your sales. And then from that, you need a system that will give you the breakdown in a forecast. Like in a lot of systems can just give you a forecast of like, oh yeah, you need to buy 200 more of this widget based on your sales history and your forecast and everything that we have projected in the future. But bill of materials allows for, okay, yeah, here's all of your sales history, here's your sales velocity, here's all of this. But here's all of the raw ingredients that you need to purchase in order to, get that manufactured and assembled and get to your warehouse on time. So that's a big deal. And yeah, a lot of people, they don't even understand what the system needs to do in order to be able to forecast for raw materials like that.
Right.
But yeah, super simple, easy to use bill of materials that will allow you to forecast raw materials from your sales. Now, something I'm super excited about is what you were alluding to before. Really, if you're a brand that has multiple warehouses and sells an FBA, it's somebody's full-time job normally to just monitor all of the transfers and the ins and outs. Like, okay, if you're replenishing Amazon, do you replenish it from China or do you replenish it from your warehouse, your 3PL? Like, what data do you need to see? Luminous is building this all-in-one view that will let you drive all of those decisions. It'll show you everything you need to see at a warehouse level, at a product level, and it will help you automate or like make those decisions really quickly.
Right.
Which is a big deal for brands who constantly have to transfer to FBA and constantly have to purchase and replenish their SKUs. So, yeah, I think what I'm most excited about is that opens the door for everybody uses the buzzword like AI, but really more important than just saying your platform can do AI things. It's like, what are the use cases? This new module that we're building and rolling out, it has the most use cases for AI.
Yep.
Like, we're definitely going down the route of, okay, so we've taught our users how to replenish and purchase really easily. I wonder how we can automate that. What if you could auto replenish?
Right.
And like, what if we can capture all of this data, learn from it, and then, be prompting our users to auto replenish FBA, auto purchase, auto draft all these POs. That would be really cool.
And the reason is like the other piece of the software requires some sort of like physical act outside of it. If you're fulfilling orders, you have to go into the warehouse, pick things up, put them in a box. AI can't really replace that. Purchasing is that one act that is completely if your inventory is accurate and your data is accurate, it's completely at a desk on a computer, and you're looking over the exact same data, looking for the same ideas, spotting flaws, spotting problems in the data, identifying outliers and things you have to exclude, making predictions, and just sending them off to the factory. And those are all things AI is really good at. And so as we build this out with that idea of like, how can AI be your co-pilot while you're purchasing? That's what we're looking at this next year.
Yeah, totally. I think, is there anything else on the product update side? Well, I think something to realize as Luminous keeps growing in 2024, I think we grew a lot the past 4 months. I think that growth is going to projected to continue in 2024, month over month. The biggest thing to look out for is we're going to be really loud on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram. We're big on content. So at Luminous, we have a culture of content. So all of our employees, they make content that is in line with their personal brand, and we help promote that personal brand. We have a belief that B2B marketing is boring. All of the brands are freaking boring. people like to buy from people, not from boring businesses. So that's something that we really promote individuality and developing your own personal brand. I think that's the thing that's going to help us win over time and help us ultimately connect to more brands in a meaningful way.
Yeah, and I think the reason why is we aren't just a software tool you spin up and you hope it works. It's when you're partnering with us, we legitimately care about the success of your business and want to make sure that you're getting as much value as possible from us. And a lot of times that's being on the phone call describing, what we recommend for a pick and pack flow, or what we recommend to do in this situation or this situation, or how do you grow if this is what you want to do. And it's a very personal experience that we have with all of our customers. And it's not just something, we're not a nameless brand, some software you sign up for and you never hear from us.
Yep.
Hopefully you're talking with us, we're working with you. There's not a implementation, you're live, goodbye. It's a, hey, you're with us, you're our partner, and we're working with you forever.
Yep. And I guess last thing I'll say in closing is if you're a Luminous brand, we're going to send out gift baskets this year, and you're going to get some swag. So make sure you rock that swag like I am right now. I've got my shorts, my hoodie. Brendan he can do the Superman, show his chest. So we're going to send this out. If anybody else wants some swag, just DM me. And yeah.
Awesome.
So here's to a rockin' 2024. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Thanks.